Salakia. But if something does happen to Nate, and we don't wish any bad in the guy, but if something does happen, you're going to see a plethora of videos go out around the clock, man, saying, what needs to be said about the situation. Let's keep it going. Support or encourage. Slakia. So it says, ordain a pastor whose training or qualifications are not approved by the IRS. So these 501c3 organizations, they have to teach an IRS-approved doctrine, advocate or teach any biblical doctrine that is not politically or religiously incorrect or inconsistent with any public policy, abortion, feminism, gay rights, etc., currently being enforced by the IRS. So you got to go along to get along. Additional requirements for 501c3 churches are found in the Department of the Treasury, Department of Treasury, Slovakia, Internal Revenue Service Publication 1826. Churches must have an organized creed, an IRS approved form of worship, have IRS approved code of doctrine and discipline, have ordained ministers educated in state accredited colleges. And that's why, just knowing from experience of people who have dealt with IUIC, that's why they want to get all your information as soon as you are looking to join their organization. They want, how much money you made last year, because they have to report all that shit to the IRS. Once again, being an IRS approved organization, they have to play ball. Pastors must answer to the IRS as to daily activities of the church. The IRS must be privy to all financial transactions of the church. So that's why they want to know all of your information, because they got to report that to the IRS, including every single transaction that goes on within the organization. And down to the transactions that you're doing. Pastor must supply names of all donors, make books, records available, be neutral on political issues. So they really can't be vocal. How the true servants of prophecy, how Bashim Yashar are vocal. Be engaged in activities furthering exclusively public purposes. Open its services to the public. So they gotta open their services to the public. They can't exclude anybody. Submit names of all church workers, pastors, teachers, clerks, counselors, educational directors, office helps, associates, and maintenance personnel. And maintenance personnel. Slack. So even the janitor, he's on the list. The government knows about you too. Not publicly oppose licenses of church ministries. Give unlimited submission to civil magistrates pertaining to all laws, federal, state, local, including public policy. May only use IRS-approved fundraising methods. Pastor will be called to account on any stand taken against the tax system. Church must advocate and support racial integration. May not engage in activities opposing pornography. May not support legislation saying children belong to parents rather than the state. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, So you pretty much get it. These guys are being controlled, man. And that's why they can't really speak the word and message of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai properly. Just wrap this on up. Didn't want this to go this long, but hey, that's the spirit. Wasn't intended on making the lesson this long. And Salakia for having to make a part 2, but the camera cut off as I was speaking. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Let's go into this in the blue letter. So Ecclesiastes 7:7. And in the blue letter, it brings up edification on what this word gift is. So that word gift is Strong's H for Hebrew 4979. I'll let him say it.
Strong's H 4979. Matana.
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 Matana. It's like it. So that word goes into a sacrificial offering in a bad sense. So idolatry, you know? And what are they doing? They're taking a covenant with the government and accepting money to teach false doctrine, which is idolatry. Once again, Ecclesiastes 7:7. Surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. Let's go into this word heart in the Hebrew. The word heart is la'ab. There's no e's in the Hebrew, so it's la'ab. If you go into the Hebrew right there, it's la'ab right here. And it goes into la'ab in the Hebrew, it means your mind, you know. So to read this with understanding, it means surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift, idolatry, a sacrificial offering, in a bad sense, destroyeth the mind. And they're destroying minds that they're teaching by teaching you not the true doctrine. They're paid off not to do so because they've done what? They made a covenant with the heathen. Exodus 23:32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. And what's the IRS, FEMA, the Department of Homeland Security? Well, that's an entity that's looking to be worshipped in the form of this new world order. They're going to make you bow down, you know, and eventually worship the beast and eventually take that charagma, you know? So you're making a covenant with their gods, you know? And Esau Edom, he's looking to be like the Most High. So you're making a covenant with death, man. I was going to get that a little later, but let's get it now. Isaiah 28:15, Slaki. Because ye have said, we have made a covenant with death, and with hell we are at agreement. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, it shall not come unto us, for we have made lies our refuge, and under falsehood we have hid ourselves. Isaiah 28:16. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, behold, I lay in Zion for a foundation, a stone, a tried stone, a precious cornerstone. That's that stone that's being talked about is Yahushai. A sure foundation, he that believeth shall not make haste. And that's what 2021 was named, the year of hastening, the return of our Lord Yahushai. Judgment also will I lay to the line, and righteousness to the plummet, and the hail shall sweep away the refuge of lies, and the waters shall overflow the hiding place. The enemy's going to come in like a flood, and it's going to wash you away, man. Isaiah 28:18, and your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. Your agreement with death, the grave, Esau Edom, who's compared to his death, Habakkuk 2:5, you know? and your agreement, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, ye shall be trodden down by it. You shall be trodden and had under the foot. Those that consent with them. Second Ezra, the 16th chapter. And you consented with this guy. So you're going to be trodden down and trodden underfoot. First Maccabees 1:11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them we have had much sorrow. And those same men are back. Doing what? Making covenants with the heathen all over again. Same men who made covenants with the Greeks. They're back making covenants with the Greeks all over. Except those Greeks are calling themselves so-called white people. In the form of the IRS, the FBI, the CIA, the Department of Homeland Security. And these men are making a covenant with death, with the grave, because he that toucheth pitch shall be defiled therewith, and he that hath fellowship with a proud man shall be like unto him. You're going to have to die that second death for making a covenant with death, with Esau, man. First Maccabees 1:12. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein, that they went to the king, Antiochus Epiphanes, Antiochus as some brothers call him, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen. And what were we just reading about? The licenses and the ordinances of the heathen that these 501c3 organizations have to come under. First Maccabees 1:14. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen. And what were the customs of the heathen? Well, they made a gymnasium, Yep. And they made themselves uncircumcised and forsook the holy covenant and joined themselves to the heathen and were sold to do mischief. Same thing happening all over again, making themselves abominable, forsaking the holy covenant and teaching a doctrine that's an IRS approved doctrine, and joining yourselves into the heathen, being sold to do mischief, taking out scriptures of the Holy Scroll, taking the bag, Jake doing the same thing all over again. These same men are back doing the same thing all over again, man. Yep. Isaiah 56:10. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Why can't they bark? They have something called a 501c3 tax exemption, which prevents you from doing literally 75 bullet points and counting. It just goes on and on and on. They have part 2 of this, and there's more stuff you can't do. Just through. Paid off. Paid hirelings. Isaiah 56:10. His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are dumb. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber. And why can't they bark? Well, we went over all the bullet points that they have them being silenced. You can't speak out against the Illuminati. You can't speak out. You can't speak out against the Bilderbergs, the Trilateral Commission, the Council of Foreign Relations, the elite bankers, the Illuminati. You can't call out false doctrine. So that's why they use sensationalism and they call us conspiracy theorists and all these names, because they're paid off not to talk about these things. And their members are window shopping and watching our lessons and actually getting fed and built up. Isaiah 56:11. Yeah, they are greedy dogs. Yeah, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, and they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, every one from his gain, everyone for his gain, and for, I'm going to start from the top, Slakia. They are all, Slakia, yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough. And who's that remind you of? Let's get this precept, Habakkuk 2 and 5. Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yea, also, this is talking about Esau in Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. Yea, also, because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire is hell, is the grave, and is his death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. That's talking about Babylon the Great, which is the melting pot of nations. You got everybody here. Elam, Ishmael, Moab, Ammon, Japhet, Amalek, Teman, and all 12 tribes. Yea, they are greedy dogs which can never have enough, just like Esau. Ye of your father the devil. And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain, from his quarter. Aslaki. Next precept. Isaiah 56 and 13. Come ye, Isaiah 56 and 12, Slaki. Come ye, say they, I will fetch wine, and we will fill ourselves with strong drink, mentally and spiritually. Physically and spiritually, better yet. And tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant. Because why? They took the bag. They're sellouts, man. They're hirelings. Matthew 23 and 13. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Why? For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. Why? By taking the names away from your congregation and not teaching the true doctrine. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer them that are entering to go in. You shut up the kingdom of heaven, man, to your believers, man, by taking the true doctrine away from them and taking the names away from them, man. Why? Because they're hirelings, man. John. Yep. The book of St. John 10 and 12. But he that is an hireling and not the shepherd, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf coming, and leaveth the sheep, and fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. I'm read it again from the top. Got a little excited. The book of St. John 10 and 12. But he that is an hireling, you took the bag, you got the 501c3 covenant, and not the shepherd. Who are the shepherds? The head apostles of Great Millstone on down. The real servants and prophets of Yahweh Shemi Ashai, the true men of the Lord, whose own the sheep are not, seeth the wolf and leaveth the sheep. That's what those hirelings do. They see it the sheep, and they see it the wolf, and they leave the sheep. And fleeth, and the wolf catcheth them, and scattereth the sheep. The hireling fleeth because he is an hireling and careth not for the sheep. They don't care for you, man. All they care about is their government purse coming to them, and not losing their tax exempt status so they can keep on getting their bag. The book of St. John. Actually, let's go to 2nd Ezra 6 and 27 and 28 and wrap on up. For evil shall be put out, and deceit shall be quenched. What? Rivers of living water. As for faith, it shall flourish. Corruption shall be overcome, and the truth, which have been so long without fruit, shall be declared. And the truth is being declared. And that starts with men teaching the true doctrine, not caring about what the government says, international, state, local, federal laws, YouTube guidelines. It don't matter, What matters is that the sheep are not being starved, What matters is that we're doing this and you're doing this for salvation. You know, not for a bag, not for vainglory. We do this to edify and build up the tabernacle of David in these last days. And the true servants of prophecy, Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, they're starting to pull the listeners and followers away from these other congregations because the elect are going to gather, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not. And it all starts with this word going out. And once again, your members, I'm talking about these other congregations, are window shopping us. And they're starting to hear the report of the true servants of prophecy, Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, and comparing it to your report, and they're realizing that something doesn't add up. And eventually they're going to cross on over. Just like brothers like myself crossed over, you know? It all starts with this word going out and lessons like this going up. So with that, I'd like to close on out. And Adon Rathazai, Yahweh Rathazai, you were edified. And in closing, I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors into the head apostles of Great Millstone, who do rule well and teach well with sound doctrine. Shalom unto the hope of the elect, and the servants of prophets, Yahweh Bahashem Yahshai. And last but not least, the hearty Shalom to the men of valor camps and DTA camps spread all across Babylon the Great as well. And to the next time, Lord's will, maybe in a couple hours if the Spirit allows, Shalom, DTA, Wa, Ba, Ba, Ba. Soon. Shalom.